Alright, I think it's finally time I talk about Celestial Anomaly Phase 1. There's only one day left, and I'm gonna give you my honest review as an endgame player and why I think they went for this approach. So, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. As an endgame player, this content is not content. It is basically Chronos 2.0, and I didn't have any fun with it. It was completely throwaway content. I didn't farm it at all because I don't farm Chronos. I did go all the way to difficulty 11, but it's really nothing special. It's just Chronos with 6 espers and some talent trees, right? Quote unquote 1 year in the making to sort of revamp the first or season 0 of Celestial Anomaly, and this is what comes up. It's really disappointing. So yeah, as an endgame player, I don't really have that much to say about it. I haven't made a single video about it because what am I supposed to make a video of? To farm Chronos again? We already have a Chronos in the game. Ritual Miracle right here. This is Chronos right here. Same sets, same mechanic. The only difference is the talent trees, and that's it. What am I supposed to make a video on Celestial Anomaly phase 1? And phase 2 is going to be the same. It's going to be APAP. Phase 3 is going to be Fafnir. Phase 4 is going to be Andras. What am I supposed to make at that point, right? It's just something we already have. Version 2.0 with no mechanics changed. The only thing that changed is having the ability to equip talent trees. That's it. I mean, the strategies to get lower turns possible is a little bit different. You know, some people don't even use Ollie anymore in the Celestial Anomaly, but the gist of it is still the same. It's still the same boss with the same mechanics. There's nothing different about it. The only thing that changes is what type of strategy you run to get the lowest turn possible as an endgame player, right? That's the only thing you changed. It is really boring. There's nothing to do. I don't farm it at all. And also, this is also bugged. It will always show a new tag right there, even though it's not the high score. Season 0 of Celestial Anomaly, we had, you know, new bosses. While it is pretty tedious to climb 450 floors, it was still something different, right? I hated the fact that they added towers in the first season of Celestial Anomaly and having like 450 floors, but it was something new. They could have just reduced the amount of floors, the amount of dead floors we had, right? All of those in-between floors, in-between boss fights, those floors are just filler. It's like a filler episode for an anime or something, like Naruto, right? Naruto has like 400 filler episode and 10 canon episode. That's what they did in the Celestial Anomaly Season 0. But the boss, however, was really fun. It was something new we had to the game. It was the mechanics of the boss was totally different. We developed different strategies to go up against the boss. Different units had different uses, like Camille was really good at that point. Even the 4-star Pazuzu was also being used in Celestial Anomaly Season 0. This guy. You probably don't even know who this guy existed. Right here. This guy. He was being used in Celestial Anomaly Season 0. One thing I can say that's good about this Celestial Anomaly is that the unit that they provided for us is really good. Ggez is good throughout all of her resonance. Her R0 is really good. Her R2 is really good. Her R6 is really good. So it's really rewarding for you to get this free-to-play Esper, as opposed to you building up your Celestial Anomaly score to get this garbage of a unit. This unit right here. He still has seen 0 use, even at R2. R6, some people do use him, but it's still very niche. He's very underpowered. So it's a stark difference between Ggez and this guy, so I can give them that. Ggez is a very good Esper, good for pretty much every content in the game. And she's free, right? You can get her for free. And then if you do happen to get more copies of her, she's going to be even better. So that's one thing I like about this one. The reason why they did this type of anomaly, where you just farm bosses, is because it's very newbie friendly. The CN version just released just almost 2 months. So they don't really want to make a new boss that the CN server will struggle. So instead, they gave us all of these bosses, Ritual Miracle bosses, that you should already be farming as a new player to get all these sets, instead of going up against a strong boss that will fight for your resource. So what I mean by that is, a new player in CN version will still use all of their resources to farm Ritual Miracle, right? So if they end up releasing a new boss that ends up fighting over your resource, your stamina, that's not going to be good for a new player. They don't know where to juggle their stamina, whether to use it on the boss, to farm the boss, or to farm Ritual Miracle. So instead, they just said, whatever, let's just make this Celestial Anomaly Phase 1 to 4 the Ritual Miracle boss, so that the new players cannot complain and say that they don't get enough stamina to farm their gears and whatsoever. Yeah, this version of Celestial Anomaly is undoubtedly better for new players, because again, the CN version is new and they want to cater the most to the CN server instead of the global server at this point. But it does come at a cost. Releasing this type of content is very bad for your current players, you know, old time players, but they don't really care at this point, I don't think, because the current players is very small when it comes to revenue as compared to what the CN version revenue has brought them. Now for me as an endgame player, while I may hate on this version of Celestial Anomaly, I can't say for certain that the CN version hates it, because it's really just, it's a good event for you. You farm the new boss, you get more rewards from the leaderboard content, and you get relics that you should be farming anyways, right, as a new player. So there's nothing wrong with this version for the CN version. But for us, the global server that has been out for almost 2 years, pretty much 2 years at this point, this is nothing. It's boring, it's dull, it's bland, it's dead. And they've been catering to the CN version for a lot of contents, not just this Celestial Anomaly. If you take a look at Beatbout and Knockout, these are both for the CN version. The rival runes is a terrible system, but is a good system for the CN version because you don't use your current relics. If you're a new player, you don't have very good relics for 15 or 20 of your aspects, right? So they end up making these rival runes so everyone is equal. When everyone is equal, Resonance makes a play, Divinate makes a play, so you can still whale, but you cannot whale on the rival runes. It's an illusion that makes it so you are on a fair playing field, but in reality, it makes it so that Resonance and Divinate is more pay to win than before. And another thing, they've also changed the Resonance system a little bit. When we take a look at Iki, his R1 is the first one to have an effect. Rather than giving him 10% damage increase, it just gives him a broken effect. And I think that is also part of the CN server as well. They're trying to squeeze as much dollars as possible. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. They gotta make their money somehow, right? And let me show you real quick on why I think they don't really care about the global server anymore, and they will just keep on catering to the CN server. Right here, I have gacha revenue. He gets all of his data from Sensor Tower. So this is DISLYTE on the Apple App Store, and then also on the Android Store. This is going to be the global plus the global plus the Japan server. And look at the revenue, right? On January 2024, we only got 700k total. On February, we did get an increase by 300,000. This is again included on Apple and Android. When we take a look at the Sensor Tower right here, again, Apple made 600,000 and then Android made 400,000. The download is also looking pretty bad, 30k and then also 10k. When we go over, oh, there's also a CN version right here. So yeah, CN version is pretty bad. Look at this. January we made 20,000, and then in February we doubled that. Oh damn, 40,000. Let's go. But when we take a look at the CN version, look at this, 8.3 million in January. It did decrease significantly on February to 5.5. This mainly is attributed to when the server is launched, because they made it possible that you can whale on a shimmer banner that allows you to rate up any specific character you want. This is the reason why this revenue is so high, 8.3 million. And because the whales will just R6 everything on day one, right? That's the reason why it's 8.3 over here and 5.5 over here. So the whales over here already R6 everything. Now it's just like more of the dolphins trying to R6 stuff. And this is also around the time when Feng Shun dropped. He probably did increase the revenue a little bit, but even without Feng Shun drop, I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference, because again, this is the initial drop of the CN version, and every whale just R6 the Shimmer Legend, and that's the huge portion of the revenue right here. And as you can see, this one is just 5.5. This is around Uran's release, if I'm not mistaken. Significantly weaker as per, but still the revenue is still high because players still R6ing or going for resonance on Shimmer Espers. So yeah, this is the reason why I say DISLYTE moving forward, they're not really gonna care about the global server anymore. They will they will still make updates on the global server, but they will make their updates based on the CN version. And since the CN version is new, they will cater towards new players instead of existing players. Case in point, the Celestial Anomaly, Beatbout Rival Runes, you know, there's a few other stuff as well. So we cannot really expect them to make Celestial Anomaly Season 1 to change that much until the CN version gets to like maybe a year or something like that. But I doubt they're gonna keep this type of revenue throughout the year. We're already seeing a significant decrease from 8.3 million to 5.5 million because again, this is the initial burst of the server. This is where they released it, and then this is starting to dwindle down. And then when most of the big whales have already R6 their legendary shimmers and legendary espers, it's gonna keep going down and down and down. And then eventually the CN server will probably look like what the global server is right now. 1 million at max. I don't think the global server has ever reached 2 million after like the Leora event. The Leora event made like I think $14 million, and then after that it kind of dwindles down from that point on, and then we're now at 1 million, which is pretty good still. But with the amount of audience that the CN version has brought, getting like 1 million increase in the global server is not really too far-fetched, and it's not really that much if you think about it. So yeah, again, my final thoughts on the Celestial Anomaly Season 1, Phase 1, and for Phase 1 through 4, I think I'm not gonna enjoy it at all, except for maybe a few bosses. Those that I farm, I will deliberately try to get the lowest turn possible, but for Chronos, I don't really farm Chronos, so I don't really care in particular if my team can go to 4 turns or not. But maybe for APEP or for Andras, I might try it a little bit more, but it's still pretty much the same content as Retro Miracle, right? There's going to be a few changes on the talent trees that will make me develop different strategies to go as low of a turn as possible, but it's nothing new. It's the same boss, the same mechanic, the same runes, the same rewards. Season 2 has to be something different, man. You can't just make Retro Miracle 2.0 and then name it Celestial Anomaly. Yeah, that's about it. Ciao.